Hello there, beautiful dragon people, it's me, your pal Vero, here to bring you some more of that Dragon Prince content to tide us over till the next season is finally released. Today I'm going to be doing a breakdown of the most recent Instagram live stream Q&A with the Dragon Prince creators Aaron Ehas and Justin Richmond. They did an hour-long live stream where they answered questions that were posted in the chat and on Twitter beforehand, and it was a good time. I know that a lot of you weren't able to watch it while it was up, and that Instagram only holds it for 24 hours after the live stream was posted, so I will have a link to the full re-uploaded live stream in the description. Definitely go check that out if you are interested. In this video, I'm going to go over the most important questions, or the questions that for some reason I just found kind of humorous or interesting. So without further delay, let's get right into it. The very first question they decide to answer is regarding whether or not Through the Moon is going to be a standalone story or part of a series of stories taking place between seasons 3 and 4, or is it going to be the first graphic novel for the Dragon Prince, but not necessarily part of a specific series of continuing stories. And here's the answer that they give.
Does being called the first official graphic novel mean there are other potential graphic novels in the cards, or that Through the Moon is part of one series with an overarching plot? So hopefully yes, hopefully you guys love this not graphic novel, and hopefully we'll get to do some more with Scholastic because we really enjoyed doing it, but this is a standalone. So yes, it is part of the core story for the Dragon Prince, and it totally counts and is canon, but there's not a sequel to Through the Moon, if that's what you're asking, Red Shirt Guy.
We'd love to do more graphic novels.
Absolutely.
I think we are actively talking about that and planning it. Definitely in the cards.
Yeah.
But not necessarily an overarching story.
Alright, well that's exciting. I haven't even considered that there could be a series of stories taking place in between seasons 3 and 4, and that Through the Moon was just going to be the first installment of that story. It's just something that hadn't even occurred to me, but that could have been a really interesting idea. But having multiple different stories all taking place at different points in time and potentially with different characters could be really cool as well. I would love to see them use the graphic novels to fill in the history of the world and to tell stories about some of the older characters and fill in their backstories. Or maybe even use the graphic novels to introduce characters we've not even met yet but might meet in the future. I just think it could be really cool. I really like the possibilities of having standalone stories. The next question that they answer is, what does moonberry juice taste like? And it's actually the question that I submitted.
The next question is, what does moonberry juice taste like? Please be as clear as you can with your answer. It looks so delicious and it causes me physical pain knowing I will never get to taste it. In my mind, the things that are conjured are perhaps some kind of juice blend. I feel like there would be mulberry juice, if anyone's familiar with mulberries. There could be pomegranate. I know Justin has talked about there possibly just a bit of cran involved.
Some cran mull.
But I always think mulberry.
Yeah.
What do you think, Justin?
Yes, that's right. Something like that. I think that's right. I think mulberry is exactly the weirdest, coolest taste. If you have not tried mulberry, you should absolutely do it.
I am very pleased to hear my stupid words come out of the mouth of a writer that I admire so much. And Justin Richmond has like the slightest of an amused look on his face, and that brings me so much joy. After all, after everything these guys have done to entertain me with their various projects, not just the Dragon Prince, but a lot of the stuff that Aaron has worked on in the past, and a lot of the video games that Justin has been a part of, I was just happy to give him maybe just the slightest second of entertainment, however mild it might have been. The next question they decide to ask is one that was actually asked during the 2020 San Diego Comic-Con livestream, which was, do you have to read Through the Moon to understand Season 4? And if you guys remember me talking about that during the breakdown, I talked about how hard of a question that is for a creator to answer. It's very tricky because on one hand, you don't want to make it sound like people are going to have to read this material, because as a writer, you're going to have to assume that not everybody in your audience for your television show are going to be reading the extra materials that are released. So I had no doubt that Through the Moon would not contain any kind of major revelations that would completely change the context of season 4. So it's a really hard question for a writer to answer, because you don't want to lie and tell people that they have to read it, but on the other hand, you don't want to undermine the importance of this canonical story that you just released. I think Aaron does a much better job answering it this time around than he did in the Comic-Con.
Do we have to read the graphic novel before we watch season 4?
We missed this one, I see.
Yeah.
I don't think we should say too much here.
Okay.
I think the answer is, it's like, no, you don't have to. But everything that happened in the graphic novel happened before season 4 and really happened. So you could probably infer some of it, but best experience would be read this graphic novel. Get yourself up to date.
So the optimal experience is definitely to read Through the Moon, but it won't be overly confusing or make season 4 inaccessible to anyone who has not yet read it. Basically, you're not going to go from seasons 3 to 4 and be completely confused why all the stuff has changed. Which is good, because there's going to be a lot of people in the future who haven't seen the show yet, and if they were to go straight from season 3 to 4, not even being aware that a graphic novel existed, they could be very, very confused. So it's good that it's like that. I still think there's a lot of fantastic stuff in Through the Moon, and I'm very happy with it for what it is. You guys saw that in my review. If not, go check it out. This question is definitely what we would call a spoiler by like any definition. This is a total spoiler question, which is funny because they specifically asked for no spoilers, but you guys like almost every one of these questions that got asked were like, what's gonna happen in the future? What's gonna happen in the future? What's gonna happen with this character? So that was kind of funny. I tell you what, I admire your guys' tenacity. I can see you guys are rule breakers. I like that. But here's the answer that they gave.
Okay, so here's one from...
Can I do one real quick here?
Oh, you go. Yeah, please. Jump
Someone
in.
is asking what Erebos said to Kessa.
Can't say.
We can't, but Janaya's wondering that too. And we're excited about it. It's weird. I'm not being helpful, but it was a good question.
It's awesome.
I'm not giving a satisfying answer, but it's a good question.
I really like the way that Aaron gets so excited to answer the question, but he knows that he can't answer it in full. So I reckon that that's going to be a really fascinating storyline in the future. Like, the storyline going to be directly connected to that moment. So we have that to look forward to. Also, someone in the comments asked how she even knew what happened, and this was his response.
Someone asks, how does Janai know that Erebos whispered to her? It's a good question. Because she might not have seen it, but she's going to find out about it.
That's right.
Okay, so there were only a handful of people from that event that are still living, and as far as I'm aware, that's just Viren and Erebos, so only a couple of people. So if I had to guess, Viren and Erebos are going to run into Janai at some point, and that information is going to be revealed. But who knows? What do you guys think is going to happen? How is she going to find out about what Erebos said to Kessa? The next question that they go over is regarding the Orphan Queen, and we get a little update on that.
Someone asked about the Orphan Queen. We love the Orphan Queen, and there are more references to the Orphan Queen coming in seasons 4 and onward. And it's a story that Justin and I have always wanted to tell. We think it would be a great movie someday, maybe. But yeah, the story of the Orphan Queen is certainly relevant to the story and the saga as it's unfolding now. And the story is a cool story on its own.
We don't get very much information on it, but I was still very pleased to hear that they are still planning on making it a movie. I am totally on board with Dragon Prince movies, not just as a fan, but I also think that a movie might be more accessible to some people who might be a bit apprehensive about getting into a new series. So maybe the movie could be a great jumping on point for people who aren't even fans of the Dragon Prince. Which is great, because the more the merrier. There are so many people out there who deep down are beautiful dragon people, but they don't know that because they haven't seen the show yet. So hopefully we'll get that movie soon, and it will be everything that the creators are hoping for and that we are hoping for. The next question that was asked was regarding whether or not Erebos created dark magic.
Did Erebos create dark magic? Someone asked. No, I don't think it's so much something that was created as discovered. I think there's a question of like, did Erebos help humans discover it or turn them on to it or give them clues? I think that's very possible that Erebos played a role in developing their ability to do dark magic, encouraging them to explore the possibilities of dark magic. That seems very likely.
It was kind of surreal watching this part because I remember hearing this exact question somewhere, but I cannot for the life of me remember where I heard it or read it or watched it in a theory video or where it came from. But the answer that Aaron gives here is exactly what they said there. That dark magic wasn't something that was ever created, but it was discovered. But Erebos absolutely helped humanity out and is encouraging them to explore the uses of dark magic. I think that is pretty obvious. As for the reasons why he would do this, we can just theorize until we are given further information. But I personally think that it's going to come out that he has a real soft spot for humanity for some reason. Possibly a romantic one. Seems like it would be a great way to humanize him once he starts to become the main big bad of the series. But hey, that's just a little theory of mine. Who really knows? So here we go with another spoiler question. It's just like, hey, creators of the Dragon Prince, tell me what's gonna happen in the future. So the next question was whether or not Thunder is going to unfreeze at some point.
Is it possible that the Dragon King will unfreeze? I think he is talking about, or they are talking about Thunder in particular there.
Should we not answer that? I feel like I could say it's possible. I don't want to over-encourage or get anyone too excited. I think being turned to stone is a pretty dismal fate.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, so here I'm going to give you guys a little sneak peek into my counselor training and decipher a little bit of body language for you. So, typically when someone purses their lips like this into a smile and presses their lips inward, that's usually indicating that they are holding back information that they know they shouldn't say. Which, given the context of what's going on, and what was just asked, definitely seems to be the case here. So, from this we can derive that Thunder, the former King of the Dragons, is totally going to return in some kind of way. But I'll let you guys be the judge of that. The next question that was asked was regarding whether or not Claudia would be getting a redemption arc in later seasons, and Aaron's response is absolutely wonderful.
Why does she need a redemption arc? Why are you judging her? What has she done that requires redemption? I'm a little confused. What judgmental person just asked for her to have a redemption arc? Because pretty much in the clear, if you ask me. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I'm insulted for her.
Personally, I don't think she will be getting a redemption arc. I think that she is going to end up being the secondary villain of the show and will end the show in a very dark place. I'm not ruling out anything as a possibility because, like I keep saying, we never truly know, but it's my own personal opinion that she will not be getting a redemption arc. I think that it would work better thematically if she did not, but we'll have to wait and see. The next question that was asked was about Corvus's name.
Is Corvus's middle name Dennis? My life depends on this. Don't you understand? And that is from Claire Whedon. Well, so I know where this comes from. I think.
Do you want to just answer? Do you want it to be Dennis? Can this?
This can absolutely be Dennis. Absolutely. There's no reason it can't be. I think I know where this answer or this question comes from, which was there was a running gag in the writer's room with Devin and myself where we called Corvus Dennis Trackerman because of a whole game. It was a whole thing, and it went on way too long.
It was just because we can't name. Sometimes we just hadn't named him yet. Right?
But that one in particular went on forever because we talked about there was a whole family of Trackermen, and he had like cousins and uncles, and it went on way too long. But I think that's where that comes from. So, but I think his middle name could absolutely be Dennis. I don't know.
That seems right to me.
Yeah, seems right.
This was something that I really wanted to know too. If you guys remember from my Art of the Dragon Prince review, I actually went over a piece of information where they had mentioned that they had called him Dennis in the early stages of production for his character. And you guys will remember that the more I looked at it, the more convinced I became that he kind of looks like a Dennis. Like the longer I looked at it, I held the name Dennis in my mind. I was like, you know what? He kind of does. And the last question that we're going to be going over for this video was whether or not the continent of Zadia was all there was in the world, or if there were other continents.
Oh, here's one from RAG42. Is there a bigger world out there, or is Zadia all there is?
There's some stuff on the periphery of the map that is
there.
That is a bit part of a bigger world, but the main focus is this continent is where the key action is. So I think there are things on the periphery, but in our mind, sometimes we've joked that the Avatar map is on the other side of the world.
That's right. You flip it over, that's where that is. Yeah, exactly.
But we don't own that map, so.
I think this is really interesting. I think it would be really fascinating to have other stories taking place in different parts of the world. Actually, it's kind of interesting because that actually means we don't know the name of the world that the Dragon Place takes place in. We all call it Zadia, but technically that's just the name of the continent, not the actual planet. So we don't know what the name is. Well, that's all the time we have for this video. As always, if you guys liked the video, please remember to like and subscribe, and you can become part of the beautiful Dragon People community here on YouTube. And as always, I'm off to rewatch The Dragon Prince. See ya.